And here in Singapore, HDB says most of the feedback it receives from buyers taking possession of new BTO flats is to do with surface imperfections, not actual defects. Such imperfections include hairline cracks and uneven tile joints. HDB says these don't affect structural integrity and are quickly and easily rectified. It also says there's a framework in place for quality assurance and checks before new flats are handed over.
These stickers indicate parts of the flat that its owner is unhappy with. They include chips in the tiles and dirt on some of the surfaces. He has reported them to the Housing Board, which is looking into it. Not all processes are automated and some manual labour is still required in the construction of flats. As such, HDB says that what flat owners report as defects could actually just be imperfections that result from a number of factors, such as individual workmanship. According to the Housing Board, an average of 1 defect per flat was reported for projects completed in recent years. HDB adds that quality has not been compromised, even as more build-to-order flats have been constructed.
In the past few years, HDB actually ran out projects that about close to 100,000 flats. We actually have a comprehensive program that actually control how we manage the qualities, starting from as early as the design stage to the implementation stage, and even at the final stage of completion, we do another comprehensive check again.
This means a building inspection team will use special tools to inspect the entire flat. Among other things, it checks that the tiles are properly laid, are not hollow, and that the walls are even. If defects are picked up, these must be rectified by the contractor. Then, another round of checks will be conducted and the flat eventually handed over to its new owners.
Little defects that we are talking about are things like defective lock set, hollow tiles, or damages to the window panels. That's some common thing that we actually receive.
And when residents move into their new homes, they can head to an on-site building service centre for help. These centres are set up at all new housing projects for 1 year. According to HDB, on average, about a third of the residents living in new BTO projects seek help from the centre. Surveys done over the past 5 years showed that about 9 in 10 residents were satisfied with the services. The new flats are also subject to a quality assessment by the Building and Construction Authority. It looks at the quality of workmanship in structural works and finishes, among other things. HDB's score has improved over the years, from an average of 65.7 in 1989 to 88.6 in 2014, which is above the national average.
Well, even amid the assurances from HDB, some homeowners are turning to third-party service providers to give their new flats a professional once-over.
Before Kevin Gunn received the keys to his 4-room build-to-order flat in Punggol, he engaged his interior designer to inspect his new home for defects.
We have read on papers recently there's a lot of defects, so we also wanted to have professionals to come and help out.
He paid an additional $300 for the service, but he says it is worth it if checks are more thorough and hassle-free. An interior design firm says it has seen a spike in the demand for such services. Inquiries are up from 30 in January to about 80 per month now.
For homeowners, generally they are more aware through social medias. So these days they are more knowledgeable when it comes to the quality standards. But how clearly they define the standards, they are not very sure. Hence, the tendency of them seeking professional service.
Mr. Koh says inspections focus on 3 areas: structure, mechanical and electrical components, as well as architectural finishes. Those he hires to carry out the checks must have experience in the construction sector. An expert says if a decision is made to engage a third party to carry out a flat inspection, it should be a professional engineer or architect, as the person must be competent in specific areas like design, construction and plumbing.
If that person do not have the experience to carry out such inspection, what you have is a report that definitely is inaccurate and It could be that a report that missed the significant defects that was actually in the apartment itself, and it could be also an exaggerated opinion of something that is actually minor.
But Mr. Chong urges homeowners to first work with HDB. He says it has the expertise to carry out checks and it may not be necessary to hire a third party.